out to our Disciple Trek thing. I have a video here that I will be sharing with you about Disciple Trek. This was made about a year ago, but I want you to kind of get a feel of what it's for. This one actually has another camp in there as well, but you'll see the majority of the footage is actually from our camp. So I'm going to share this video with you and watch one of the promo videos for Disciple Trek.
I had questions.
Can you hear it?
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what God wanted me to do.
I knew most of the beliefs and everything, but I didn't know what it meant to really follow them personally.
It's a struggle.
Our young people do not understand the gospel. They don't have assurance of salvation. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're made for. And this Adventism thing just isn't making sense to them. Disciple Trek is a 3-week program where young people get an opportunity to discover the true roots of their faith, what the Adventist Church believes, what it means to them, and why that's relevant today, and how to find Jesus in the heart of this message.
We're opening up the Word of God and studying, but it's the full camp experience too. We're getting to do all kinds of activities, from horseback riding to wakeboarding to zip lining, all of the excitement of camp while studying and going deeper in our relationship with God.
And they start to absolutely love the time that we have to sit and talk about Jesus, about the gospel, about the second coming, about everything in the Bible that just points to the amazing truth of who Jesus Christ is.
It's so exciting to see young people get energized about being a Seventh-day Adventist.
Now that I've come here and I've learned so much about who he is and I've seen who he is, I realized I'd barely scratched the surface of who he is.
My favorite thing in the entire world is seeing somebody get it for the first time.
I came here and I found God. I committed my life with God to take me wherever He wants me to go, and I made the best decision of my life.
I've learned things that I never even would have thought of, things that blow my mind.
If we do what we're doing here and we reflect that in other camps, it will change young people's lives without a doubt. It will change young people's lives anywhere, and it needs to be in more places.
It is so important for us to invest in our young people because they're not the generation of the future, they're the generation of the now. Their purpose and calling in life is to dispense the love of God to a dying world. I want them to really grasp the gospel, and I want them to be the generation that hastens the soon coming of Jesus Christ. I want them to be the generation that gets serious and says, enough of this world, it's time to go home.
I'd only heard about you before, but now I've seen you with my own eyes. A man named Job once said that, and now I say that too. Before I came to Disciple Trek, I knew about God, but now I know Him, and I can't wait to know Him more.
All right, once again, I just want to point out that to you that we really feel like this is an amazing program. We'd love for you to look into it if you're interested. Also, we are giving away one free scholarship for that here after Andrew's talk this afternoon. Once again, if you are interested in that, but once again, only if you're interested and you are really serious about this. We are giving this out to anyone who's between the ages of, and I misspoke, from 15 to 18, anyone who's 15 to 18. So for the Disciple Trek this summer, we're giving away one, and that's for 3 weeks of camp, an in-depth Bible study and camp experience. It's 3 weeks, and it's worth $900. So if you're interested in that, once again, put your name in the chat, and along with the words Disciple Trek. We have a few people in right now for it. If you gave me your name this morning, I already have it. But if you're interested, make sure you put your names and the words Disciple Trek, so I know you're not giving me another list of names. All right? So we're very excited about that. Here right now, we're going to allow, why don't we just get into Jeff? Jeff, why don't you run our little game right now?
All right, let's go, guys. I hope everyone's going well. I hope everyone enjoyed this morning. We are going to play another Kahoot game. We got some of the polling questions as well as the quiz. And just because I like snow, I decided we're going to go with snow. Like that's just hopefully you guys know something about snow. Maybe not growing up in the South, but I didn't know some of these. But I hope you guys enjoy. I'm not able to share my screen, so whenever you guys enable that, I can begin this.
Oh, how dare we?
How dare you?
Make Jeff a co-host. We're working on it.
Sorry, that's all right. It's okay. We've got. If you go to Kahoot.it like you did last night and this morning, I'll give you the code now so you can start. It's 831-2608, and you'll see that on the screen in a moment here. It's 831-2608 is the 831-2608. I'm co-host now. I can share my screen and show that to you guys. Here we go. There we go. Let's do that. All right, we got some people joining now. We got 17. We'll probably wait for a few more seconds. So we just got up there. You can enjoy the dogs playing in snow there. It's something I miss from growing up in Michigan is the snow. That's one thing about the South. I love being in the South. I love being here, but snow, miss it. All right, we got 30. I think we'll wait about 5 more seconds. All right, here we go, 33. You can still join. It's at 831-2608. So here we go, 34, 35. Every time we're ready to go, somebody else joins. 36, 37. Can we get 38? Nope, going forward. Okay, what do you know about snow? These are some polling questions. First, would you rather? Does not have to do with snow. Be able to transform into anything or be able to teleport anywhere in the world. I wonder if you would know where you're going to teleport. What if you just randomly showed up in the, 500 feet deep in the ocean? That'd be bad. You didn't know where you're going to teleport. Or you didn't know what you're going to transform into. That'd be bad. More of you would want to be able to teleport. I'm assuming you would want to know where, though. Would you rather get B's and C's at Harvard or get straight A's at Southern? No knock on Southern here. Where'd you rather go? Ooh, get straight A's at Southern. I like it. I like it. I did neither of those things. I didn't get A's or B's at Southern either. So for breakfast, would you rather have pancakes or waffles, eggs and hash browns, donuts, or cereal? See where everybody, I'd like all of those things. Can we just do a breakfast with all of those? This should be a multi-select.
But then it's not a would you rather, Jeff.
I know, but I like all the food. I like all the foods. Well, more people want pancakes or waffles. I would agree with you. Pancakes and waffles are awesome with some eggs on the side. All right, would you rather?
And a donut on top.
And a donut, yeah, and a donut. Would you rather be looking in photos, or be better looking in photos? Sorry, or be better looking in in person? I don't know. Depends on what my job is. Like, if, more people be better looking in real life in person. That's
in
good.
Real person.
In real person. When you're in real person, would you rather only be able to listen to bagpipe music or banjo music?
Ooh. Bagpipe music is only good for 3 minutes max. Once you go past 3 minutes of bagpipe music, it's over.
I think, yeah, and banjo music I can handle a little bit longer.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. That more people agree with that. Christmas makes me feel like, this is a poll. I'm losing my mind with anticipation of delight. I want to hide in a cave. Wait, when is it Christmas again? Bah humbug. This was around Christmas time. Nice.
Wow.
All right, now we got
Christmas
our quiz
grumps.
coming. Multi-select, might have to select two. Snow is water in solid state. What do we call the process when it turns to ice or snow? The phase transition, condensation, melting, or freezing. I told you this about snow, guys. You have no snow.
Listen, you can't say the words wrong because then they're going to know that's not right.
Hey, I have dyslexia, so I say all words wrong, okay?
Ooh.
So freezing and phase. Some of you guys got that. Good job. Now we have some leaders coming up. All right. Snow can transform directly to water vapor without melting first. What is this process called? Vaporization, sublimation, thawing, or deposition?
Huh.
You got to learn something, maybe.
I'm learning something for sure.
See, I think I mispronounced that, and it's the right one, so you never know.
You're just trying to throw them off now.
Yeah, I'm just going to mess up on purpose. All of it is on purpose. UV radiation from the sun can damage your skin. Uh-oh. How much radiation can fresh snow reflect? Up to 95%, up to 80%. All rays are reflected by fresh snow, or about 50%.
So is yellow just a long way of saying 100%?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure.
What if that one's right, though? No, it's not. 95%. 9 of you guys got that one. Good job. All right, honeycomb and snow have something in common. What is it? Both can make you sick. Both have hexagonal shape. Both have kings. Both melt fast.
Snow King?
Snow King, yeah. It's the abominable snowman. He's the Snow King.
Gotcha.
Both have hexagonal shape. Most of you guys got that one. Ooh.
Ooh, Purvis is hot. It's on fire.
Yep. The weather forecast predicts 5 mm precipitation. How much snow can you expect? 5 centimeters, 5 millimeters, 5 meters, or 5 feet? It's not 5 feet. I like to throw negative, just don't click that one. Watch it be 5 feet.
About half of them already clicked it already.
I know, that's why.
I already clicked it. And I was like, yeah.
5 feet.
Oh.
New leader. All right. What is the record in speed skiing? 212 kilometers. So you got to justify it or you got to convert to miles per hour.
I'm in America. I only know miles per hour.
252 kilometers, 276 kilometers, or 180 kilometers. I guess this is a guess, and now you can know something that your friends don't.
I don't live in Canada. This doesn't make sense to me.
You mean you don't live in the rest of the world? It's 252 kilometers an hour. Somebody can do the calculations and let us know how fast in miles per hour that is, because I don't know. All right, we have 2 more questions, guys. How is snow created? It starts as a drop of water, then freezes. Falling ice crystals connect and create snowflakes. It starts as hail, which is crystallized. It starts as tiny droplets raising into the cool air.
Why is it one of the answers Jesus? The answer is always Jesus.
What? The answer is always Jesus. One of these, Jesus does one of these. He makes the falling ice crystals connect and create snowflakes. That's right. Jesus does it. Ooh, we have a leader change. That's what we try to show some hard ones so the leaders change. No 2 snowflakes are alike. How many types of crystals do we distinguish between? Different types of crystals, not snowflakes. An infinite number, 7, 80, or they're basically all the same. Now that half of you clicked on it, it's not the green one. It's not the green one.
I don't even understand the question. How am I supposed to get this right?
You're supposed to guess. That's why I want leaders to change. You have to nope. 7 different types of crystals. Yes.
Wow.
Infinite types of snowflakes, but the crystals are 7 different types we distinguish from. So I didn't know that a few months ago, and I learned something new. So hopefully you guys did too.
Wait, we need to know who the winner was.
No. Oh, I can show. I didn't close it. Good job. You're going to see the winner. Give me a second.
Yeah, we need to know who the winner is. We're giving
right there.
A shell. Okay, I'm writing that down. Who is that? Can someone show me your computer screen? Oh, never mind. We know who you are.
Okay. Good job, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for teaching us about snow today. Thank you for teaching me something I will not remember tomorrow. I will remember those 7 types of crystals, though. That is good. Hey, speaking of games tonight, I'm going to introduce Chris May from Advent House in ACF because he has an announcement for us. Go for it, Chris. Tell us, what are you doing here? What's going to be happening tonight?
Sure. So my name's Chris, as you just heard, and we're going to be doing a game night tonight at 7:00. So definitely be there. And I'll share a little bit about that in a second, but I want to first talk about ACF. How many people here have heard of ACF? Show of hands. Okay, I see some hands. I see some. So as you heard, I'm Chris. I work at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and I work for a facility or organization called Advent House. Advent House is a Seventh-day Adventist student center on the campus of UT. Which you may not have heard, that we have student centers on campuses that are public universities or public schools. But we do, and it's a really cool thing to get involved with. ACF stands for Adventist Christian Fellowship. It's a lot of words. But what it is it's a group or club of students that was started by students for students. And I have a privilege of working with them here at UT. But there are many schools across our conference and even across NAD as well. Just to share a little bit about what ACF is. It's something that changed my life. When I was about your age in high school, I went to a boarding school, but it was not an SDA school. In fact, I was the only SDA at that school. And on top of that, I was the only student at my school who went to church. So I had a lot of struggle when my fellow students or my friends asked me, like, what do you believe in, or how is Seventh-day Adventist different from, my faith or my background? And I kind of struggled to share with them because I had a textbook answer, but I didn't really know how to share my experience with them. So flash forwards, I went to college up at UMass, Massachusetts, and I found out that there was this club of other students who were doing church and Bible studies on my campus. So I was like, well, there's a whole church group of people my age that are doing stuff right next to where I live. I was like, sign me up. So I went there, and it was something that gave me rest when I was, burnt out from school or just needed people to be around who could pray for me, who could encourage me. It helped me out so much, but it also gave me a place to bring my friends when I wanted them to not just hear about Adventism, I wanted them to experience it. So that was a really cool thing for me. I loved it so much that when I graduated, I decided to come back and work for an ACF group as a staff member. So if you guys, we got some great schools like Southern and Andrews, but if you guys are looking at a school that's, maybe a public university, talk to Don, because he's, if you haven't noticed, he's one of the guys who knows everybody. And he can definitely get you connected to an ACF chapter if that's something you guys pursue in the future. Or feel free to talk to me, because I definitely have answers for any questions you might have. So that's a little bit about ACF. But yeah, going into tonight, 7:00, we're going to have a bunch of different games. We'll have several different breakout rooms that you can cycle through, and we'll be playing different games like Drawful or Quiplash or Fibbage. A lot of different cool stuff. Some of them you probably haven't played before. It's similar to Kahoot, but on a really creative level. So for example, some of them you'll have to take your phone and you'll draw a picture on your phone, and other people will be guessing or labeling or competing with your drawings, which maybe you're one of those people that can draw really well on your phone. My drawings always turn out bad when I'm drawing on my phone, but it'll be very interactive. It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure that if you are coming tonight, bring a second device, whether it's a laptop or your cell phone. It'll be helpful to have 2 devices. So that's my one tip for you guys. But 7:00, we'll be playing games. Definitely don't miss out.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. I've played some of those games. They are a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, we're going to start to transition here into a more worshipful thing. We're going to play a song here and then go to Pastor Andrew. But before we do that, I want to make this announcement one last time. Make sure you put your first and last name on so we make sure we get the right person into the drawings for our prizes this evening. And remember, we are giving the prizes out tonight at game night in between Pastor Andrew's wrap up and game night. We're going to give away the prizes, and you have to be present to win. If you are not present, you do not win when we draw the name. So make sure you are aware of that. So now we're going to have Pastor Don cue up our praise and worship song. Sing along with it.
I hear the Savior say, thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all. I hear the Savior say, thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all. Jesus paid it all. All to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. Lord, now indeed I find thy power and thine alone can change the leper's spots and melt the heart of stone. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. And when before the throne I stand in him complete, Jesus died my soul to save. My lips shall still repeat, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. He washed it white as snow.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had a great lunch and great discussions before that. And we're going to continue our conversation on taking off our masks this afternoon in our third talk before tonight. And in this talk, I want to talk about what are the ways that we put on our masks when it comes to our calling, when it comes to living our life and having the destiny that God has called us to do. For any of you, if you're like me, you like to have your life planned out. You like to have some good idea of the direction that you're going. For some of you, though, this is probably a very terrifying idea. Just the thought about your future, what college you want to go to, is absolutely driving you insane. I had a buddy of mine who once said, "Why do we say boo to scare people? Why don't we say things that are really scary, like student loans or commitment?" So when we have these conversations, people can either go one way or another. Either they're super excited about the concept of calling and identity and knowing who you are, Or on the flip side, it's a terrifying discussion. But unfortunately, too many people, without knowing it, wear a mask and try to emulate something they see rather than being the person that God has called them to be. Growing up, my mom was very, very creative as my teacher. And I had a very vivid imagination. I would wake up, and pretend I was a cowboy, and by the afternoon, I was Superman. And when we would study different things, if we would study a culture, for example, my mom would absolutely have us engrossed in that culture. We studied what they did, we ate their food, we dressed the way they dressed. And I think I have a picture here of me when I was studying Middle Eastern culture. Let's see if we can find it. But yeah, so this is how she did it. And so when we did different things, for example, when we studied I think we're looking at everyone on screen there, Pastor Don. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're back. So yeah, when we studied the Revolutionary War, for example, my mom took us to a paintball range where we literally practiced what they would do during battle in the Revolutionary War. And there I was. I think I was 10 at that point, and we were studying Middle Eastern culture and how to wear a burqa and what it looked like and felt like. But yeah, so we studied the paintball range, and I learned through this process that during the Revolutionary War times, if you were to duck or crouch, you were considered a coward. And so we literally had to sit there and take the paintballs as they came. And I'll never ever forget that lesson, I can tell you that much. But I just being a homeschooler and having a mom who was such a good teacher, it just gave me a very rich view of life and of the possibilities that life had to offer. And this is one of the greatest gifts that God has given us. He has given us the ability to dream. Around the time of the Revolutionary War in England, there was a minister who had the courage to take off his mask and reveal to his congregation that he had once been a slave ship captain. He repented of his sins and he talked about God's amazing grace for him. In this preacher's audience was a young man by the name of William. William heard his preacher, and as he grew up, he got involved in politics and he started what was known as the abolitionist movement. Young William Wilberforce fought for the rest of his life against all odds. With the exception of a few allies, he was alone in the fight against the slave trade. It pervaded all of England. But for the rest of his life, William Wilberforce persuaded not just his government, but the entire country of England that all men were created equal in the sight of God and that all men deserved to be honored and have the dignity endowed by their creator. And he convinced the entire nation of this. And just days before he died, he saw his government abolish the slave trade. An incredible feat. Well, within about 30 years of this happening, the Civil War happened here on our own soil. And in our own soil, the South was losing the war, not because of bad strategy, but because it just didn't have enough resources. So they wrote to Queen Victoria in England, who was going to support them with those resources. But then President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation telling the whole world that this war was on slavery. And Queen Victoria had no choice but to stop in her tracks because all of England, her people, would never, ever allow her to take sides with a country that promoted slavery. William Wilberforce's effect and his influence of his life that he dreamed spread beyond just the borders of his own country, but influenced the entire world. And 100 years after that moment, a young preacher from Atlanta had a dream of racial justice among his countrymen in what was regarded as by many as the greatest speech in American history. The world needs less drones today and more dreamers. It needs less people that are just going to follow the status quo and follow broken systems that don't work just so they don't rock the boat, and more people who are willing to think, dream, and believe and follow their conviction that they can make this world a better place. Yes, my friends, God is asking you to have courage, to take off your mask and to allow him to work in your life so you can make this world a better place. Because just like Moses with his burning bush, God has a unique purpose and calling for your life that only you can complete. And when he calls you to that, he doesn't need you to look like somebody else. He doesn't need you to put on that mask and emulate this other person. He needs you to be the person he has created you to be, to accomplish the purpose that he has created you for, with the personality and skill set in which that is needed. As I spent time myself trying to discover who I was and what God was calling me to do, I became fascinated with personality theories. I don't know if you guys are intrigued by personality theories, but I find them fascinating. Some of my favorites are the Myers-Briggs, and I don't know if you guys do Enneagram, but for today's purposes, we're going to talk about the temperaments, the 4 temperaments. We have the sanguines, right? The sanguines are the happy people. These are the kids that never grew up. Okay? The sanguines are just absolutely the life of the party, great storytellers. If you have a parent that's a sanguine, you'll see them in the morning distraught because the world is terrible, because they got up late for work again. And by the afternoon, when you see them, they're happy because they forgot about the ice cream that they left in the freezer. These are great people that we have in church to be our greeters. If they can get there on time, they're great. If they can remember where they parked their car, they're great. They absolutely love you. They make you feel happy. They make you feel excited. You come in, Phil, great to see you, Phil. Great to meet you. You leave, Jerry, I hope you had a great Sabbath. Have a good day. But they're wonderful people. They're fun-loving people. Next, we have our phlegmatics. The phlegmatics are the laid-back, easy-going, and nothing bothers these people. At least they don't show it. If you get a phlegmatic to raise their voice at you, you've really pushed it, because usually nothing bothers these people. My brother's a phlegmatic, and I kid you not, people could walk into his living room, start unscrewing his TV, and start walking out, and he'd be like, well, I needed a new one. It was time. They don't want to confront people. They're people pleasers. They're non-confrontational. Growing up, my best friend was a phlegmatic as well, and his house was literally on fire. His house was on fire, and I saw him taking selfies with the firefighters. I'm like, dude, and I called him like, dude, your house is on fire. He's like, yeah, there it goes. I'm like, do you guys have like insurance or something? I think it might be in the house. I don't know. We're okay. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? But that's the way they are. They're laid back. They're great friends to have because they're forgiving. They're understanding. They're peaceful people. They're great mediators, and they're great team members if you can get them to be on your team. Because more often than not, they'd rather sit back, relax, and enjoy the show than actually go in and get involved. But when you can get them involved, they're awesome team members, and they're awesome people to have around. Next, we have our cholerics. Our cholerics are our one-word answer people. How you doing? Fine. How was your trip? Good. You know, they're defined by the word lead. Cholerics are people of action who want to get things done and move organizations forward. They want to right wrongs and improve systems. And while they'll be the first ones to stand up against injustice, they may also be the bully because they're not the most sensitive people. If you make them greeters, you're going to lose everyone from the church because they're going to be like, hey, you're late. Sit over there. Don't be late next time. Because they're direct people. They're matter of fact, they're action people. They want to get things done. Many clerics can get in trouble for challenging those around them. As a cleric myself, I have had to learn to use different language because when I'm trying to give suggestions, it naturally comes out like a command. And so as my wonderful wife taught me, it's not just what you say, but how you say it. So cholerics need to be softened down a bit by their other personalities. This is why I try to keep my phlegmatic friends around, because they help soften me up. Lastly, we have our melancholies. The melancholies are our deep thinkers and perfectionists. They're very detail-oriented and strong idealists because they desire the ideal so much, they naturally see how things could go wrong and tend to be a little bit pessimistic. So I have two little brothers that I took to the zoo a couple summers ago. Jordan, the sanguine, my little Tigger, jumping up and down, all happy about everything. And Ethan, my little melancholy. So we get to the zebra encounter and Jordan runs up. Oh, look, the zebra. He starts taking a picture with his phone. He's all excited. And Ethan stays with me and goes, oh, he's all alone. That's sad. Same zebra encounter, but two completely different experiences based on their personalities. But that's them, and they're great to have on our teams because they are excellent analysts. They love to see information, analyze it, and focus on those details. I tend to identify myself as a melancholy choleric, which is why I wanted to have my whole life planned out. I wanted to know every detail. And I did. I actually had my whole life in high school planned out until I died. Literally, until I died. I was going to go to college for 4 years. Then I was going to graduate and go to Loma Linda Medical School, graduate when I was 26, and get married. Oh, and I had a plan for that too. Let me tell you, she was going to be fine. Okay? She was going to be beautiful. She was going to be talkative. She was going to be a sanguine. And then I just had this picture in my head because in high school, they had us do, in Bible class, they had us do this activity where we had to write out our perfect day. And so I wrote out my perfect day. And there she and I were, and I mean, just in my head, in my mind's eye, I saw us in front of a fireplace, just her telling me about her day and everything going on. And this was my perfect plans. Now, after we got married, we would have our 2 to 4 kids and head off into the mission field where I would live my life as a hero, missionary doctor, come back, retire, and die. That was literally my plan, and I was content with it. You know, I had this awesome mentality, and then I remember during my senior year when the college recruiters came to my local academy for academy days, it was like a candy shop, right? All these different plans for the future. It was so exciting. And so I went, and my top 2 schools were Southern Adventist University and Pacific Union College. Those were my 2. And so I started talking to the recruiter from PUC, and these recruiters, let me tell you, they are good at their job. They start coming to you and they're like, our school came down from heaven by the Lord. He planted it here. And the rest came, I don't know, from evolution or something. I don't know. But our school was the one. And so PUC, the recruiter came and told me all about how this, this school was amazing. And Ellen White had visions of the school. And then they gave me what's called a mock schedule. Now, a mock schedule, if you're not a senior yet, is where they show you what your classes could look like potentially based on your major. And I looked and I was so excited because I only had 15 hours of class. Now, going from high school where I had about 30 to 15, I was like, I don't know why these people are complaining. College is easy. Time management, look at all this time I have to manage. It's going to be fine. Yeah, y'all know where this is headed. So anyway, I took off. I chose PUC. I took off and went there. And I was ready to take on the world with my foolproof plan. It didn't take even my first year of college for me to realize that medicine was not in the cards for me. Now, maybe the fact I don't like science, blood, and have a fear of needles should have been a giveaway. But for some reason, I bypassed all that. But then when I got to college, I realized that this was not going to work. But you see, the problem was I really believed with all my heart that this was what God had called me to do. I mean, I had prayed about it. I had talked to pastors about it. Not only that, it was part of my journey that I'd seen some traumatic medical experiences that were just happened to be random. So if God didn't call me, then what were those about? And what was God calling me to? Because when you think you have a destiny, what do you do when that destiny fails? I had on Friday night, we talked about Moses. We talked about his experience. But did you guys know that Moses was both a homeschooler and a public school student? For the first 12 years of his life, Moses was at home learning. And then when he was 12, he ended up going and being taught by the public teachers of Egypt and learned all about their educational system. So Moses was in both of these worlds as well. And the book of Hebrews tells us that he passed up the pleasures of the life of a prince to keep to his faith. Moses had a reason and a plan. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to know when you get there. The hardest part about doing nothing is you never know when you're done. Moses had a plan for his life. Moses knew where he was headed. He wanted to, through the commentaries we learn, that he was prepared and being groomed to take over the throne, where he would undoubtedly deliver his people as the king of Egypt, free the slaves. And from all we can read and all the accounts we can see, he was set up perfectly to do that. He was on his way. So then why, oh why, does Moses make this dumb mistake? Why does Moses kill this Egyptian? He was the prince of Egypt. He could have ordered it. He could have ordered someone to stop him. He could have had him punished later. Why does Moses kill this Egyptian? I think that Moses kills this Egyptian because, like so many of us, Moses makes the grave mistake, for many even before him and those after him, of wanting to do the right thing. Moses was trying to defend someone who's being beaten. That's nothing wrong with that. Moses wanted to free his people. There's nothing wrong with that. He had all the right intentions, but he wasn't patient enough to do it in God's time and in God's way. So many of us today want to do the right thing with God, but we're not willing to be patient enough to do it in his time or in his way. When I was working as a chaplain at Southern, I had many students come to my office, good students, good-hearted students, grew up doing all the right things, but then getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, not willing to wait for God to do things in his time or in his way. See, because Valentine's came around and they were seeing all their friends in couples. And instead of having Valentine's Day, they were having Single Awareness Day. And it just seemed like even though they wanted to follow God's biblical plan for marriage, God was just taking a little bit too long. So instead of waiting for God to bring Mr. Right into their life, they settled for Mr. Right now and ended up having traumatic experiences that left them broken. And they were in my office just saying, I want to go back to the way things were before, but recognizing with tears in their eyes that there was no way they could go back, but had to move forward. And then they found themselves in this wilderness of their life, just trying to pick up the pieces. They went from thriving to just surviving. Now, like Moses, I did what I could to help them understand and realize that they had mercy and grace and could move forward with God, but it was going to be a journey now for them. And for years, for me, after my freshman year, I struggled with what I wanted to do with my life. I ended up declaring, not thinking about, declaring 11 different majors. I absolutely had no idea what I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to do. And so after 3 years, because I'd been pre-med, I'd had enough science classes to graduate with my associates in health science, and I decided maybe a fresh start will help. So after 3 years, I transferred to Southern Adventist University, but after 2 months there, I was just as lost as I'd been before. And I remember being angry with God. Why, God, why? I did everything right. I was patient as far as I knew. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I hadn't slept with anybody. I hadn't done anything wrong that I could think of. I hadn't done anything impatient. So why was I just as lost? Why couldn't I figure out what I was supposed to do? And what I learned in that moment through that identity crisis was that I had two fundamental misunderstandings about the way things work. The first one was that I was supposed to have my entire calling understood at the age of 18. Why is it that we think, and so many of us, and me included, not quite just like this, but we kind of think that we're waiting for God to be like, be an engineer, and the shining light comes down on us, and then we have that 4-year degree planned out perfectly, and all of a sudden we can go to college, and there it is. We assume calling is a moment in time when we all of a sudden, aha, and realize what we're supposed to do. But calling, my friends, isn't a moment. Calling is a relationship journey. Calling is a transformational journey with God. Because you see, in the Bible, we are taught in Jeremiah 18 about God describing himself as a potter and us as the clay. And what the Bible tells us is that while in the hands of the potter, the clay gets messed up. Do you understand what that means? It means that you can be doing everything right and still get messed up in this world of sin. Things can still get messed up. But when you are in the hands of the potter and you begin that transformational journey, he will turn your life into a masterpiece. It may not be the life that you expected, but it will be the life that you want. But you need to trust him and leave your hands with him and know that it's not going to happen overnight. For maybe a few of us, we might have a dream and God will reveal it to us in that dream. But for the vast majority of us, it is a journey and a process. So if you are 15, 16, 17, 18, or however old you are, maybe younger than that, and you're worried because you're not sure about your calling, it's okay. It's okay. God isn't going to just spell it out for us. He's not going to give us an entire roadmap of our destiny. That's not how he works. But the Bible tells us again, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. God gives us what we need for what is right in front of us and asks us to be patient along the journey. Jesus spent 3.5 years with his disciples trying to prep them for his calling. 3.5 years with them right there, living, eating, being next to each other every day. And at the end, they still didn't quite understand it. Do you think because you attended a 6-week seminar, you're going to have it all figured out? And this is another thing with how we understand growth in our churches. Why do we expect people to know the beauty and the nuances of a mature faith after a seminar or an evangelistic series? No, this is an introduction. It's an introduction into a life-changing relationship, not an informational meeting about a calling. Calling is a process, and it is not limited to just one fit nicely 4-year career. God has greater plans for you than that. And that was my second error, my second fundamental error. I realized that I had been asking the wrong question all this time. Instead of asking, what I was asking was, what am I supposed to do, when I should have been asking, who am I supposed to serve? Who is God calling me to serve and to love in this world that is so broken? Never in my lifetime have I seen more dividing lines than right now. Racial, political, geography, multi-ethnic lines, just so many ways. If we can divide ourselves, we divide ourselves. And these ways of thinking, every group says if only they would be more like us, then we'd be okay. The problem is always out there. Democrats, Republicans, red, yellow, black, white. The problem's always out there. It's never in here. And the problem with that mentality is that when we think like that, what we're saying is, if you will only conform to our view, if you only conform to the way I think, then all of us will be right. But confirmation, hear me out clearly. Confirmation always leads to oppression, because confirmation is based on fear. You follow not because you think it's true or you believe it in your heart, but you follow because you're afraid. And once this fear is removed, you revert right back to the way you were before, and for some, even worse. But a lot of churches, while they want transformation, they'll settle for confirmation. Because as long as you're acting right on the outside, we'll deal and we'll settle with Jesus not having a transformative relationship with you on the inside. But it's not what God wants. Like the potter with the clay, God wants to take you on a transformative journey where you are serving your fellow man and showing love and beginning to invite others on this transformation journey with you. God's okay if he's not seeing all the results on the outside quite yet, if he knows that there's transformation going on the inside. Because even though transformation takes more time, transformation renews the mind and elevates the heart. It convicts you of what is right and what is wrong. And it is in those moments of conviction that you realize your calling. That's what the transformation with journey with Jesus is all about. And until I understood that God was wanting me to serve my fellow man, I couldn't understand what I needed to do. But after I understood that, I didn't declare another major. And I graduated with the ones I had already, because I realized that my calling was way beyond just a 4-year career, but into a world that needed to know about his love. So even though now in college, I reached my super senior year, my 5th year of college, I was ready to graduate. My dream, though it had not quite turned out the way I had thought it was slowly taking shape, but one thing was still lacking. I was still lacking my fireplace moment with my girl. And then my last semester, before I graduated, right in the nick of time, there she was. My 4.0 nursing student, beautiful, with the most devoted devotional ever devoted. I mean, she was on fire for God, and we liked the same things. Once again, the birds sang at night. I didn't need to eat. I didn't need to sleep. What was classes? And even though as things developed, we had a little bit of a rocky start because she ended up leaving after graduation and I stayed. So after our initial bliss, we had a little bit of a difficult patch being distance. We came back together and everything was beautiful. Until one day, I noticed something was wrong, and I used to call her Bonita, and I said, Bonita, what's going on? And she said, I'm thinking about getting rebaptized. And I'm like, okay, well, nothing wrong with that. I think we're okay. And she goes, I'm going to send you a video of this preacher that I want to get baptized into his church, and I want to know what you think. This is where I want to go. And I started watching this preacher, and as I watched him, my heart began to sink as I realized not only was he not in my church, but he was actually quite against my church and was attacking and criticizing individuals from the pulpit. And the more I watched, the more my stomach began to get queasy as I realized this wasn't something I could be a part of. And so for a month, we went back and forth arguing about whether or not his church was right, and we argued about theology and about who God was. And I began to realize that I had fallen in love not with who this person was, but with a mask of who I thought they were. But I was emotionally invested. So what was I going to do? I had a choice to make. Was I going to compromise who God was in my life? Was I going to give up on my church? And don't get me wrong, I knew my church had issues. I know the Adventist church has issues, has problems. I've talked about a few of them here today. But what I realized in that moment when I had to make a decision was that our church isn't beautiful because it's perfect. Our church is beautiful because of what it's trying to accomplish. It's trying to show the world that the mask the devil is putting on God is a lie, that he doesn't want to burn people up forever, but that he's coming soon because he loves them and he cares about them. And though, yes, it struggles in sharing that message, yes, we have people who don't get it in our church, it's not perfect. And hey, it's never going to be because we're full of imperfect people just like us. But it's not that it's imperfect. Being imperfect doesn't make it not beautiful. Its beauty lies in its attempt to make this world a beautiful and better place. And so I decided, until they decided to force me out, I wasn't going to leave this church, because I realized that those things about my church that make me want to leave it, that make me want to be frustrated with it, are the very things God is calling me to change about it. But if everyone who sees this calling and wants to make the church a better place leaves, what hope does our church have? If you see problems and you see issues in areas where we can improve, then fight to improve them. That is called conviction. And God is giving you this conviction to make a difference as part of your purpose. Follow that conviction in your life. And the more challenging it is, usually that's a sign that the more necessary it is. And the more you need to keep fighting with everything you got. So while I decided that I wasn't going to leave the church, I was still very much invested in this relationship, and I didn't have the strength within me to leave it. So I went to the Psalms for help. And this is one of the Psalms that I read. It's Psalms 37:4, and it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." As painful as it was, I walked away that day, believing and trusting that if I put my hands in the potter, he would give me the desires of my heart. It may not be exactly how I expected it, but it would be what my heart truly desired. And so today, as I look at my life, I'm not a missionary doctor. I didn't go overseas, but I do work in God's hospital, trying to help heal people from their brokenness. I may not have graduated from medical school at 26, but I did graduate from seminary at 26. And even though I may not have fallen in love with the high school sweetheart I saw in my head, the girl who I would vent to about what was going on in my life, the one who was my best friend for 3 years, the one who taught me that I could be loved and could be good even without my mask, even in my dark moments, who showed me that I was worthy of love. 2 months ago, I married her. And I had the best day of my life. And right behind us, you can go to the next picture, was a fireplace where she talked and we talked, and she told me about what was going on with her day. My wife is indeed a sanguine who loves to talk my head off. My life is not what I expected it to be in high school. I can promise you that. But when I tell you it is my dream come true and everything that I want, it absolutely is. So I want to encourage you this afternoon. I know that it is tough sometimes to trust in God when you don't understand. In difficult moments, in traumatic moments, you don't see what he's up to or what he's doing. When it seems like your dreams are being ripped out of your life, delight yourself in the Lord. Trust in him, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. I thank you so much for these young people who have been so patient with me during these conversations we've been having about calling and about authenticity. Lord, I pray that you would be with them now. I know you have a calling. I know you have a mission and a purpose for each one of them. Lord, I pray that you would give them the courage to take off their mask and be who they are. Be the person they are with their unique personality, their unique gifts and talents, to make a difference in this world that so desperately needs it. Be with them, strengthen them, encourage them, and protect them. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Andrew. Another beautiful message. And it's wonderful. You know, it's straight from the heart. You know, it was his experience, and God wants to give us those experiences as well, the desires of our heart. Well, guys, we're going to divide you into rooms now, into your small group rooms. I want you to remember, from your rooms, you can just go ahead and click off. We won't be meeting here for a little wrap up now, but we will be having our wrap up for the whole thing. Pastor Andrew has one more short message for us at 6:30. And then right after that, we will go straight into our game night, which we are very excited to have with all of you. We'd love for all of you to show up. And remember, that is when we will be giving away the prizes. So you got to be present to win. Make sure you show up for those. Actually, I think we have a quick drawing to do here. I said we would do this right after the talk. So we're going to get this set up. I'm going to have Andrew pull this out for me, kind of behind the scenes, for our Disciple Trek scholarship for this summer. I'm getting it ready here. He's waiting for me. We're going to pull out the names. Oh, yeah. We even got a little basket here of the names. All right. We got some names here. All right. And this is for the Disciple Trek scholarship for this summer. What's the name? What's the name?
Armand Anoka.
Armanda Anoha? Did I say that name right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes, there you go. How do you say that name?
Onuha.
Oh, no, it was Amanda. What am I talking about? I can't even read my own writing. Actually, you said it and then I followed. Hey, congratulations. We will write your name down and we will probably send you an email here in the not too distant future, giving you further instructions on how we can get that happening. Congratulations. I think you will really enjoy that and benefit from our Disciple Trek. If any of the rest of you are interested in doing that, make sure you check out. We are going to open summer camp registration for all camps, not just Disciple Trek, here the middle of this month. We're planning on opening up the middle of this month because we are looking forward to summer camp this summer. Amanda, once again, congratulations. And we are now going to be separating you into your small groups. Remember, come back at 6:30. We want to see you all there.